Okay, let's get rid of that page. That'll help. Hey guys, we're back for another edition of my show. 1454. Yeah, I don't know when that chat came through. 1454. It's 318. Stan Nicholson sounds like he's got a little bit of a butt hurt problem. He might want to get some butt oil for his hurt butt. Sammy! Hey, Sammy Earhart. Hey, Teresa. Hello. Hey, Orf. What's up, Orf? Hey, Debbie. How's it going, guys? Hey, CT. What's up, CT? Long time no see, my old friend CT. Hey, Paige. I am having a great day. I went and I hung out with my neighbors today. We had a nice conversation, and I showed them my drone, and we flew the drone over and stuff, and I left the dog over there to play with the kids, which I'm a little concerned about the little boy over there actually being unsupervised around the dog. He does have a little bit of a temper, the boy does, and I don't know if I trust him around that dog. I mean, the dog's going to take care of himself no matter what, and he's just going to take whatever punishment that kid doles out, I'm sure. But man, I just don't know, man. You know, I just hope they keep an eye on him. Can I see your drone? Um, yeah, I'll get it. It's in the other room. Yeah, the drone is tiny, man. I mean, it's there's nothing to it, just nothing, you know. If you melted down the pieces to it, it's probably like less than $5 worth of fucking material. You know, it's just molded plastic for the most part. A little bit of electronics in there and the camera. Howdy. Hey, Boom 58. Is it a Phantom drone? It is, well, it's the same company that makes the Phantom, DJI, but this is not the Phantom. This is called the Mavic Mini. And what a fantastic piece of equipment it is. Man, I am just so, hey, Allie, I am so impressed by every aspect of this freaking drone. You know, when you're building something and you have to cater to a lot of different things, you know, you got to keep a lot of people happy. And when you can, make that product in such a way that it's done right, it's impressive. Allie, Teresa, Debbie, Yo-Yo, hello. Hello. No law regarding cannabis. Happy 420, everybody. Cheers. Cannabism, tisms for all, of course. Hey, Frankie. Yeah, I've got 3 drones. I just got the Mavic Mini, though. And boy, oh boy, was that a good choice for me, man. It's just I like the smaller joint, the drone. To having this tiny little thing, not this giant thing. It's 1/3 the size of the drones I'm used to flying, and it's lightweight. You don't have to worry about it, killing somebody. Right on, Bob. Could have just been a raccoon too, or a skunk, or a possum. Why do you think, by the way it was sniffing, it was a predator? You know? How do you feel? I feel good. Thank you, hippie chick. Hey, Bridget. So, I had a very nice afternoon, hanging out with my neighbors, and letting my dog, do what I know the dog just wants to go over there so bad. So I got over my fear of people and let the dog go over there. Your buddy's got the Mavic Mini. You can't go wrong with that drone, man. The only thing that it doesn't have that I wish it did is follow me. I wish it had the follow me function on it. But if they make a Mavic Mini with follow me, oh, that would be the perfect. That would be the perfect drone for me. I want something that'll follow me. I could take hikes through the woods and shit, man. Just have it, right at like 8 feet right behind me, watching me walk. Oh, that would be so cool. Through the woods. Oh my God. Yeah, I need to find a little drone that'll do that. Oh, he's got the bigger one. Hey, Alan Moto, what's up, son? So, my neighbor and I, he's an old guy. Well, it's a whole family, okay? It's the grandma, grandpa, it's the son and daughter, not daughter, but son and wife, and then 3 adopted children, and then this guy, Brad, badass Brad, that, like I said, he's this big, intimidating looking dude, and he takes care of the family. He's just like, he's like their butler, but he like takes care of the property. And we were all sitting around and Rogan loves Brad, man. Like, loves Brad like he loves Mark. And just had a very nice, pleasant time. And Brad's fun, Brad's just a nice man. And everybody around here is nice, man. We got really nice things. I'm really lucky I live in a nice area with nice people. Anyhow, there's something going on here today. I've been telling you guys for a long time, waiting for it to happen. It's happening right now. Let's see if any of you guys can tell me what's going on. There's something going on here in my house right now, and maybe you guys might be able to figure out what it is. We'll play a little guessing game. I'm going to pack another bowl because I feel like getting high with the trendies and playing guessing games. But anyway, there is something going on here at my house. Can anybody tell me what you guess it might be? And go. Hey, Richard. Hey, Ultra Cat. That would be awesome. Ultra Cat Fart. Fart. I bet you and Kepper are going to be fast friends. He likes talking about farts, too. My little Beezle. My little Beezle. More solar panels. Other solar battery getting hooked up. Well, I got to tell you. I'm going to just stop you guys right there. Teresa King, Detroit Dabber, close enough. Close enough. My solar guy is here. I believe he's going to wire up the battery. I'm going to ask him. No, the new battery is not here, but the other 2 inverters are here. Let me go downstairs really quick and just ask him if he's going to be wiring up that battery today. I don't know if he brought everything he needed with him. I really hope he is. he's not going to wire up the battery today. But he does have the 2 inverters in the garage, so I got 4 inverters. And he's out there working on the gas line right now for the generator. But no, he's like, no, I don't think I'm going to get to the battery today. That ain't going to happen. Plants flowering. Cheers. Mosquito. Come here, you little fuck stick. I want to kill you. It's one thing I'm crazy about killing mosquitoes. Hey, John, what's up, son? I was just talking about you. I don't need extra solar. You don't understand what kind of solar batteries I've got, John. These are, I believe they're, the capacity on them is 11,000 watts each. Each battery is an 11,000 watt battery, I believe. That would mean I think I'd have 22,000 watts of battery backup at night. I believe. I could totally be wrong. I'll have to ask my guy. I don't think he's got the same kind of batteries that I'm using, though, John. This is just a really advanced, efficient system. All right, no law regarding cannabis. Cannabis isn't just for all. Cheers, everybody. Has anybody seen the free movie on YouTube called Planet of the Humans? Has anybody seen the free YouTube movie available now on YouTube for free called Planet of the Humans? Harley, you should come out here and play with me. Yeah, Michael Moore, I believe Michael Moore promoted or produced it, I believe. It's not a Michael Moore production. I mean, it's not a Michael Moore movie per se, like with him in it, you know, talking and shit like that. I like the Michael Moore movies. Right, boom, boom. No, sir, you have not, Teresa. It's a new movie, John Besser. Let's turn the AC. Man, it's getting fucking hot as fuck in here all of a sudden. Let's turn that AC on, man. I can feel the heat. I can feel the heat. Okay, well, all of you have access to see it. If you just go to YouTube and type in Planet of the Humans, all of you can watch it. It's propaganda. I watched it and I was like, whoa. I was like, damn, this guy did a lot of research. Wow. I was like, wow, it's really disappointing. Well, I told you guys to watch Just Have a Think on YouTube. Have any of my followers gone on YouTube and followed the channel called Just Have a Think? Do any of you follow Just Have a Think on YouTube? Any of you? Just Have a Think, the Climate and Sustainability Channel, I believe it's called. We've actually watched Just Have a Think on my show before. I featured him on here before. Oh, Walid Ghazal, thank you. Fantastic. Fantastic. Library. Look at that. 25 ways to avoid crashing your drone. You guys watch the videos that I watch on. You guys want to see the videos I watch on YouTube? Here you go. You got to see Scammer gets fucking scammed out of $3,000. I just watched that one. Apple Store versus teenager. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff I watch. Okay, anyway. Planet of the Humans is right there. Just Have a Think. Now, there it is. Here, this is the video I want you guys to see.
In the last couple of years or so, groups like Sunrise Movement, Extinction Rebellion, Fridays for Future and Zero Hour, led predominantly by young activists like Greta Thunberg and Varshini Prakash, have helped get the issues of climate change and overconsumption firmly embedded in the mainstream consciousness. April the 22nd, 2020 was the 50th anniversary of the first ever Earth Day, and to mark the occasion, a filmmaker called Jeff Gibbs, aided by his longtime colleague and friend Michael Moore, released a documentary movie on YouTube called Planet of the Humans. The programme contains a great deal of outdated, inaccurate and misleading information, so I thought it might be...
Okay, he said that really fast. And that's a problem. You know, this is a big problem I have with this guy. He assumes that his audience is lickety-split on their game, listening to every fucking word. He's not the easiest guy to understand. He speaks fast. He has a very thick British or Australian, I think it's a British accent. And he's hard to understand. He said that so quick, and I want you guys to listen very closely again to the words he just said right there, those 3 words. Listen very closely again, okay? Listen.
The programme contains a great deal of outdated, inaccurate and misleading information.
Outdated, inaccurate, and misleading. Let me tell you something. When this guy tells you that something is inaccurate, outdated, and misleading, that's a fucking big problem. Because whether or not he wants to admit it, he's a very intelligent research scientist. He won't say that he's a research scientist, but he fucking is, because he researches science. Hey, it's what he fucking does. He's a very smart guy. And if he watches a movie and says it's outdated, it's misleading, it's inaccurate, you need to fucking pay attention. Okay? That movie, I'm going to give it to you, my interpretation of what our friend here, Just Have a Think on YouTube, just said. You know my interpretation of what he just said is? The movie Planet of the Humans is fucking bullshit! It's a fucking lie! Now do you get it? Now did you hear those 3 words that he said? It's fucking bullshit, and it's a fucking lie. Okay? Now, he glazed over that, but now, for the rest of the video, he starts eviscerating that fucking movie. Point for point, scene for scene, he fucking tears it apart like the rag trash piece of fucking shit that it is.
So I thought it might be worth reviewing the film to consider the various challenges the filmmakers present.
No law regarding cannabis. Cannabis isn't just for all. Cheers. Welcome to Just Have a Think. Welcome to Just Have a Think. Just have a think.
Hello, welcome to Just Have a Think. Right, so here's the film then. It starts out with a nice dramatic cinematic opening, followed by the writer and producer Jeff Gibbs telling us a bit about his earlier life and explaining how long he's been a proper environmentalist. After that, Jeff starts out his investigative odyssey with this question.
What better place to check out how our renewable energy revolution is coming along than a solar festival in the Green Mountain state of Vermont?
Well, the answer to that question, Jeff, is that a better place to check out how our renewable energy revolution is coming along is in the most recent data, which is freely available to anyone who wants to access it.
Did you guys catch what he just said right there? Number one, the guy didn't ask a question, which is okay. The guy said, what better place? Well, I guess he is asking a question. What better place? It's more like a statement, but yeah, okay, I'll give him that. It's a question. What better place to, investigate the progress of solar energy than by going to a fucking, where did the guy go? To a fucking...
Writer and producer Jeff Gibbs telling us a bit about his earlier life and explaining how long he's been a proper environmentalist. After that, Jeff starts out his investigative odyssey with this question.
What better place to check out how a renewable energy revolution is coming along than a solar festival in the Green Mountain state of
A
Vermont?
solar festival.
Well,
A solar festival. What better place than a solar festival?
How a renewable energy revolution is coming along is in the most recent data, which is freely available to anyone who wants to access it.
Like I said, research
We'll come to that
scientist.
data in a minute. But
He
let's just have a
researches
think about Jeff's
data.
footage for a second.
That's what he does.
Jeff doesn't tell us when he was at this festival, but he shows us a few stalls that he visited while he was there, one of which was being run by this guy. He's called Roy Butler. Over the
Roy
course of
Butler.
23 years, Roy and his teams grafted in all weathers to install a total of 800
So-
wind and solar energy systems for domestic
Solar
and
energy
commercial customers in the northeastern states of America. I asked Roy what year the footage was taken from, and he can
No, Charles, are you asking what this is, or you're asking what my show is? I don't understand your question. So I'll tell you what both is. Yes, I'm doing a podcast. This guy, if you're asking about him, he does a show, he does a channel on YouTube. I don't know if he does live interaction with people like I do on my podcast, but he puts up information and he's really good at what he does. He's very accurate. He makes a lot of sense. Him and I don't agree on everything, but he's a research scientist and he makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Michael Moore is a fucking idiot. I agree. What's the topic here? A solar energy system bashing? I don't get it. Solar energy system. Yeah, okay, so you got it. Okay, cool. So what he's doing is he's reviewing a documentary that Michael Moore helped produce. Okay? It doesn't look like Michael Moore participated in the making of it, but it looks like he helped, his name is on it. Doesn't really, that just means he provided the money.
confirmed it was from back in 2005, 15 years ago. Roy told me that the festival was in its infancy back then.
Now, you guys notice the stamp, and you hear the sound, thunk, and he puts up the date, and it says 2005. This Planet of the Humans video, this movie on YouTube, this documentary that's brought to you by the likes of Michael Moore, is using data from 2005. Okay? What better place to check out the state of solar energy than a solar energy fucking, what was it? A festival, solar energy festival in the woods of fucking Vermont. What? From 2005? What?
Then they didn't really have two dimes to rub together. The very small solar installation at the event had been kindly donated by
You're
local
welcome, John.
companies to give the organisers a starting point from which they could build up their solar power system in future years. Jeff didn't know any of that, of course, because Jeff didn't ask. And because back in 2005 the event didn't have any battery storage, when rain began to dampen the event, the organisers had to switch to a backup generator and eventually plug into the mains. And Jeff was disappointed.
That was disappointing.
For the record, Roy tells me that over the next few years, the festival's solar power system did grow tremendously and did power the event, both in real time and with offset credits generated throughout the rest of the year.
And with offset credits, meaning that they're generating money and it's going back into the grid. Now, how fucked up is it of these sons of bitches that made that movie to not say that, to give you information from 2005 and not current 2020 information that says this festival is now completely off-grid. It's an off-grid festival. They are actually producing enough solar energy to pay back into the grid. It's fucking crazy. And you guys would be getting all this information if you would follow Just Have a Think on YouTube. All of you should be listening to this man. He is not 100% right all of the time, but he's great. And he does all of the legwork, and he does all of the research, and he provides his sources, and you can watch his show for free on YouTube. It's called Just Have a Think on YouTube. Seek it out. Follow it. Click that bell icon so you get notified every time he puts something up on YouTube. And for Christ's sakes, while you're there on YouTube, seek out Trendy As Dabbers and hit the bell there as well. You know, great idea. While you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. 25,800 subscribers, I believe.
So what about that data I promised you then? Well, according to the latest figures from the International Renewable Energy Agency, or IRENA, between 2010 and 2018, the average global cost of electricity from solar photovoltaics fell by 77% to $58.7 per megawatt
Those
hour.
are costs
or about
dropping.
6 cents per unit, in language that you and I
That's
would
the price of green energy dropping.
While the cost of electricity from onshore
That's what that
wind
chart is
went
showing.
down by 36% to $47 per megawatt hour, or about 5 cents a unit. Solar and wind have now become the cheapest source of electricity generation in nearly all major economies in the world.
They said it was going to get
including India and
better as
China.
technology
In 2010,
improved.
renewables made up about
always said that.
8.6% of the global energy mix. That increased to 12.9% by 2018, and before the global pandemic hit us, renewables were expected to reach 22.5% by this year. Links to that data are in the description box below. Anyway, let's scoot back to a
Hey,
decade
Karen,
ago
yes, I'm
and
good.
catch
Thank
up
you
with
for
how
asking.
Jeff's getting on. One of the central themes of Jeff's film is his assertion that
Quarter of the hour,
environmental
cannabis
groups
ism,
have
tis
been
for all.
so
Cheers, everybody. No law
thoroughly
regarding
infiltrated
cannabis.
by corporate money and sponsorship that the entire environmental movement is now totally compromised and completely invalid. Jeff's main beef with the environmental groups appears to be focused on the Sierra Club and 350.org. Jeff shows us this event from 2011 when Michael Bloomberg donated $50 million to the Sierra Club for their Beyond Coal campaign. Now I realise that Mr. Bloomberg recently made a very embarrassing spectacle of himself over there in the United States when he thought he could buy the presidential nomination from the Democratic Party. So he could be forgiven for thinking he's just a rich egomaniac who believes that simply throwing money at things is the solution to any problem he comes up against. And he might be. I don't know the guy, so I can't really comment. And to be honest, the Sierra Club isn't particularly well known outside of North America either. I'm certainly not a member, nor do I have any vested interest in defending them. But just for thoroughness, here's some of the things the Sierra Club has done with Bloomberg's money, as well as thousands of $10 and $20 donations from ordinary working people since 2011. And here's what they continue to campaign on in 2020. I'll say one thing for Jeff, he certainly keeps his video archives well organised. This next bit of footage is from 2010 at the launch of the Chevy Volt, GM's plug-in hybrid vehicle.
2010.
Right now the car's charging off of your grid.
Right. It would be charging off our grid, which is about 95% coal.
Now, when I heard that guy say 95% coal, I was thinking to myself, man, the grid cannot still be running only on 5% green energy. 5% green energy, renewables. I can't believe that. I remember having that thought, but that was it. I had the thought. I didn't research it. I didn't know. And as far as I knew, this was from last year. These motherfuckers are straight up lying to us. And I'm telling you, if you watch Just Have a Think on YouTube, he exposes this kind of stuff for you guys, for me. And don't let it just be up to me to find this, man. If you watch him, you'll learn about it on your own too. You need to go subscribe to his channel. Just Have a Think on YouTube. I really, really recommend you guys watch him. Really, really do. Like I said, he does the research. He found out that clip was from 2010, and he's telling you, look, it's from 2010. These people from this fucking movie are full of shit. You know, you should all be going over to his channel and thanking him.
Which of course is one of the very favourite pieces of trite rhetoric that electric vehicle naysayers tended to mindlessly regurgitate all the time a decade
Trite
or so
rhetoric.
ago, when this footage was shot. But by March
Regurgitate, I love it.
2018, even with the new US administration doing its best to big up beautiful clean coal for electricity generation
Beautiful clean
and promote
coal.
cheap gasoline from
He's
China,
great.
Forbes magazine
Beautiful
conceded that
clean
charging an
coal.
electric vehicle was far cleaner than driving on gasoline anywhere in America. Forbes explained that the new data published back then in 2018 showed that in every corner of the United States, driving an EV
Motherfucker.
produces significantly fewer
FUCR,
greenhouse gas
Freedom Union
emissions
Cannabis
than cars
Revolution,
powered
motherfucker.
only by gasoline,
What?
regardless of the local
Sometimes you
climate.
gotta talk.
Today, an average
Sometimes you
EV
gotta
on the
talk.
road in the US has the same greenhouse gas emissions as a car getting 80 miles to the gallon, far greater than the average gas-powered car available for sale in the US, which managed only 24.7 mpg by 2016. And according to this February 2020 analysis, an average electric vehicle over here in the United Kingdom now achieves the equivalent of 132 mpg. I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to realise that as the proportion of renewable energy sources on the electricity grid continues to increase, so that comparison continues to move relentlessly in the favour of electric vehicles. Anyway, back to Jeff's story. So the nice man from the Board of Water and Light that Jeff met at the 2010 Chevy Volt launch tells Jeff that they've got a solar park just down the street. And Jeff's straight in there to get the lowdown from this guy. But
Right. Now, let me just shorten this up for you, okay? The guy goes and he looks at the solar thing, and the guy says, we've got, 800 panels or whatever it is, and we've got enough energy to supply power for 10 homes. And you're left with thinking, like, God damn, those solar panels are really underpowered. Why would you have all of those panels and only be able to supply the power for 10 homes? Well, it's because this was years ago, and solar panels have become much more efficient, and all of those panels have been replaced since then with the new ones. I've had Sound Drone on my channel, Kyle. If you want to go check out Sound Drone on my channel. Go to my YouTube channel, Trendy As Dabbers on YouTube, and go see Sound Drone appearing both on my channel with me via webcam and here in my house, and him and I traveling around together doing events and shit. But I guess Kyle Bradley doesn't subscribe to Trendy As Dabbers on YouTube, and he misses out on that. Just like you're missing out on this great information if you're not subscribed to Just Have a Think on YouTube, which all of you guys should be subscribed to.
800 degrees.
So you need more coal to do that. So I get another coal out. Since when we melt these together, we get silicon metal and carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide just goes off, and you got rid of the carbon, you're left with silicon metal.
So do we need to use materials and energy to make solar panels? Yes, we do. And that does have an impact on the planet. Capturing carbon dioxide from these sorts of industrial processes
420
is
New
a
Finland.
crucial
Cheers, everybody.
improvement that we need to see implemented quickly. And in fact, the technology to do that is already in development, panel or a wind turbine. Nothing else has to be done. It'll operate for at least 20 years, creating electricity from the free and continuous resources of the sun and the wind. You don't have to continually dig up and feed those generation units with yet more natural resources to get them to produce power. Not so with fossil fuels, says Kathy. Energy generation units like coal plants, nuclear plants, or even your internal combustion engine car must continually be fed with natural resources that must continually be drilled, mined, or fracked from the earth in order to produce power. There's an entire scientific field of research to calculate this. It's called life cycle analysis. This chart, produced by Zeke Hausdauer from the Breakthrough Institute, shows how that analysis stacks up for a selection of energy sources. The vertical axis on the left-hand side shows life cycle greenhouse gas emissions in grams of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour of power generated. Across the bottom horizontal axis, you've got the various energy sources, starting with solar panels on the left, then concentrated solar power, which we'll come back to later, followed by wind power, then nuclear power, with natural gas and coal making up the two last options on the right-hand side. So without reading out every single number, I think you can clearly see that on a full life cycle basis, gas and coal are massively more impactful on our atmosphere than low or zero carbon technologies, even taking materials and production into account. Anyway, back in the film, Ozzy and Jeff go on a bit of a road trip together, and one of the places they visit is here at the site of the solar energy generating system in Daggett, California.
Then Ozzy and I discovered that the giant solar arrays had been razed to the ground.
No, a solar system can't use wind at night, John. You're so funny. You need a wind system to harness the wind. And those two systems would not generally be hooked into each other. You wouldn't have them running together. The system that I have with a battery as opposed to using wind, a wind generated, is much more efficient, much more energy, and I wouldn't be able to put up enough windmills here on the mountain. I don't have enough wind at night to power my own home. I wouldn't be able to do it. It's just not feasible. Those things do not produce the same amount of energy as a solar panel that gets sun all day and charges your battery so your battery will run all night. So the classic solar system with a battery backup is the way to go. The nighttime battery with the solar panels during the day is the way to go. You need inverters, okay, to convert. That's a very important part of your solar system. You got your panels, they're plugged into inverters. The inverters take that energy, okay, and they convert it to the type of energy that you can use in your home. Then the inverter outputs to the battery. What your home doesn't use trickles out to the battery. Battery gets full, it stops. What's left goes out to the grid. When your battery starts going down, stops pulling from the grid, goes back to the battery, puts the battery back up on 100%. Goes back to the grid until the battery drops down again. I wanted this system to be able to be used completely disconnected from PG&E. That was the point. I said, whatever I got to do, I don't care. I'll spend as much money as I need to spend. I got nothing else to do. I'm fucking going to make a home that is completely off grid.
Oh my God.
I mean, this was huge.
It suddenly dawned on me what we were looking at. A solar dead zone.
Keith and Joshy did a bit of digging on this one too, and it turns out that the site Jeff and Ozzy had visited had indeed been the home of SEGS 1, but that facility stopped generating around 2015.
And it's so, God makes it so dramatic. A solar dead zone. A solar dead zone. Watch, Ron Placone it there, guys. Watch this guy destroy what that dude just said. Watch this, guys. You guys are going to laugh your asses off.
And was removed and replaced by a completely new facility called Sunray 2.
Oops.
Jeff and Ozzy must have visited the site after the old system had been removed and before the new system had been installed. What an unfortunate coincidence. Keaton Joshi informs us that the new Sunray 2 system has generated 74 gigawatt hours of energy since its installation in 2015.
74
He
gigawatts!
also points out that the upgrade means no emissions on site, lower land use, no water for cooling, and a lower environmental impact. While they were in California, the pair also visited the solar power plant in the Mojave Desert. That's the type I mentioned in column 2 of that chart earlier. And Ozzy drops a bombshell.
This solar facility burns natural gas pretty much every morning in order to kind of get started up.
How long do they have to burn it for?
Hours usually. This is the incoming natural gas.
What Jeff neglected to tell us is that this was one of the first CSPs ever built, and that newer CSP plants don't use gas. Here's a similar but more modern example called the Crescent Dunes.
Catch that? You catch what he said there? You catch what he said there? What he said was, this guy is showing you video of this facility way before they were completely off grid, and now it's completely off grid, not using gas at all. But he doesn't want to tell you that. None of the shit that they tell you in that fucking movie, Planet of the Humans, is accurate. It is all bullshit. Green energy really is amazing. It really is cost effective. There really was, at one point, there was a chance that it could have saved the planet. Not so much anymore. You know, we're fucked. But don't listen to this bullshit that we should be, you know, we should be burning oil and coal, and because all this does is burn more of it.
Solar energy facility in Nevada. This design uses molten salt
Minute and a half.
to store energy produced during the day so that it can continue to run at night. But it's not just solar power that Jeff has his sights on. He goes after wind power too. He shows us some more old footage that he shot somewhere back around 2011. At what was then the construction site
2011.
of the Kingdom
9 years ago,
Wind
right?
Project in the Lowell Mountains in Vermont. The residents of Lowell voted 342 to 114 in the spring of 2010 to
Right.
support the project.
Right.
But Jeff hooked up with some of the folks opposed to the construction of the wind turbines at the time.
Does anybody consider that this is mountaintop removal for wind instead of coal?
Yeah, and we've even had people say, if you can do mountaintop removal in Kentucky and West Virginia for coal, then it's about time that the rest of the country shared in the mountaintop removal too. Is you get to have a fossil fuel power plant backing it up and idling 100% of the time. Because if you cycle up or cycle down as the demand on the wind comes through, then you actually generate a bigger carbon footprint than if you just ran it straight.
Now, everything that guy just said is total bullshit. And our boy's going to come on there, and he's going to make that boy look like a fucking moron, and it's going to be good. So I'm going to smoke top of the hour, no law regarding cannabis. Cannabis isn't his for all. And let's just listen to Just Have a Think on YouTube do what he does best. Check this out.
Here's some up-to-date facts from Greg Alvarez of the American Wind Energy
Up-to-date.
Association. Grid operators have decades of experience managing these changes in supply and demand, and it's proven that sudden unexpected outages at large conventional power plants are more costly and difficult to manage than the gradual predictable changes in wind and solar output. Because of the balancing efforts grid operators undertake, it's simply untrue that fossil fuel reserves run around the clock for when the wind doesn't blow and the sun doesn't shine, as the documentary falsely claims. Right now, in 2020, grid-scale energy storage and smart meters are being rapidly implemented in electricity grids in Europe and many other parts of the world to optimise the management, storage and distribution of renewable energy precisely when it's required in precisely the location where it's needed. And just on that point about equating an arm to a mountaintop mining facility, here's what the Lowell Mountain project looked like after it was finished.
Guys, look at that. Does that look like mountaintop removal to you? Here, now watch this. Watch the comparison.
And here's what a typical mountaintop mine looks like. Jeff and Ozzy are also keen to take on the big corporations and debunk the suggestion by some of them that they're transitioning their energy provision over to renewable energy technologies.
We never stop thinking about what's best for the planet. We now run Apple on 100% renewable energy. All of our facilities worldwide.
Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, when he announced his Gigafactory battery plant, he said it would power itself with wind and solar energy. But in fact, it has lines connecting it to the same electrical grid that we're all connected to.
Now, let me just tell you, as soon as I heard that, I laughed and I laughed and I laughed when I was watching Planet of the Humans. At that point, I knew it was bullshit because I know that I'm connected to the grid because I'm going to be making more energy than I use. So I'm connected to the grid because that extra energy I can't do anything with day after day. It would just be sitting here and I wouldn't be able to use it and I wouldn't be able to store it or anything. But I can sell it to the grid. How do I sell it to the grid? I have to be connected to the grid to sell it to them. Now, when the grid goes down, I'll still be up and running, and so will those companies. They don't need to be connected to the grid. They're connected to the grid because they're creating energy that's going back to the power companies that they're getting revenue for. Of course, I knew that because that's exactly what I'm doing on a much smaller scale. But I'm doing the exact same thing. And I showed you guys my negative power bill. the other day. I showed you my negative power bill. It's like negative $80 or something. You know, imagine what theirs is. So just, I knew immediately, I was like, well, that's fucking bullshit. Then I was like, what am I watching?
By showing us this footage, Jeff and Ozzy demonstrate that they either don't know or don't care how an electricity grid works. Tesla, and pretty much every other business with any kind of on-site renewable energy source for that matter, are all connected to the grid. That means they can export electricity when they're generating more than they need and import energy when they have a deficit. The method by which companies like Apple and Google get to their stated percentage of renewable energy is by looking at how much energy they consume and buying from the grid the same or some percentage quantity of energy sourced from renewables. As Keaton Joshi explains, these agreements, called Power Purchase Agreements or PPAs, have served an important purpose. Apple's main competitor, Google, is easily leading the entire tech industry in purchasing renewable energy. The grid is one big pool with buckets of energy in and out, Joshi explains. He says this is a revelation to the filmmakers, but a boring reality for anyone remotely familiar with the mechanics of electricity grids. But Jeff's real argument against renewables is that they don't actually displace fossil fuels at all. They just allow consumers to consume more energy. Jeff shows us this study and interviews the paper's author, Richard York, an environmental sociologist at the University of Oregon.
What we implicitly assume often, the substitute pushes out the thing you want it to substitute for. What you find is nations that add non-fossil energy sources do not seem to see a particular suppression of fossil fuels.
That's pretty mind-blowing. We've got billions of dollars being spent, and green energy is not even replacing fossil fuels.
They don't even know that that's a question.
I thought I'd better take a look at Richard York's paper to make sure I understood him properly. Luckily, it's still available to purchase and download, so that's what I did. And here it is.
Now, do you remember what I told you? I told you that he's a research scientist, even though he won't admit it. He'll never say that I'm a scientist. He'll never say I am a legitimate scientist. In fact, he'll say I am not a scientist. He'll be like, I'm just a curious person, blah, blah, blah. No, he's a legit research scientist because he literally pays for the fucking research. He literally gets the legitimate stuff, whatever he can. He'll pay money for it to download it, not just bullshit. In this case, it's fucking bullshit. And he'll explain it. He'll explain why it's bullshit.
It's exactly the same paper that Jeff shows us in the movie, except for some reason, Jeff removed the date at the top of his version. Anyway, that date is March 18th, 2012, and here's some commentary from the paper's concluding paragraph. It is possible that non-fossil fuel energy sources could more substantially displace fossil fuel sources if they were deployed in a context where there were explicit policies aimed at reducing carbon emissions, such as in California, where there is a goal of dramatically reducing carbon emissions over the coming decades. The most effective strategy for curbing carbon emissions is likely to be one that aims not only to develop non-fossil fuel energy sources, but also to find a way to alter political and economic context so that fossil fuel energy is more easily displaced and to curtail the growth in energy consumption as much as possible. Amen to that, brother. While I was researching, I noticed that Richard York had released a much more recent 2019 paper with co-author Shannon Elizabeth Bell, which was also available to purchase and download, so I bought that one too. The basic thrust is similar, but by 2019 the authors had made an additional observation. In the past, nations, industries and publics were not trying to reduce the use of any particular source of energy, but they were rather simply seeking ways to provide more energy. In contrast, in recent years, a large share of the world has clearly acknowledged that global climate change is a serious threat to societies and that a sharp reduction in the use of fossil fuels is necessary to minimise the severity of climate change. In this distinct context, perhaps there are reasons for optimism that we will see an energy transition in the full sense of the word, where renewable energy sources actually come to replace fossil fuels. Almost a full 40 minutes of Jeff's movie is focused on what most climate action groups consider to be a genuinely valid criticism of global renewable energy policy, and that's the use of biomass to bolster the carbon reduction numbers towards national emissions reductions targets. Jeff quite rightly highlights the detrimental impact of sugarcane plantations grown solely for ethanol production in areas like the Amazon, and his criticism of the widespread harvesting of trees to burn as biomass in power plants to produce electricity is completely justified. Environmental groups have been campaigning against this practice for many years, and in fact I made a programme for this channel last year looking at the scandalous way that the UK and the European Union are sucking in timber from the United States to add biomass into their apparently low carbon energy mix. Jeff's animation is right on the money on this one, but Jeff could have highlighted the incredible efforts of courageous environmentalists like Mary Booth from the Partnership for Policy Integrity. That organisation, in conjunction with other groups, has actually filed a lawsuit with the European General Court in Luxembourg, contending that including forest biomass as a source of renewable energy in the European Union's 2018 revised Renewable Energy Directive is incompatible with the environmental objectives of the EU, which include preserving, protecting and improving the quality of the environment, protecting human health, prudent and rational utilisation of natural resources, promoting measures at international level to deal with regional or worldwide environmental problems, and in particular, combating climate change. As a result of pressure from groups like the PFPI, internal discussions are being held within the European Union, and in fact the EU's own team of advisors, the European Academy's Science Advisory Council, warned the then President Jean-Claude Juncker in January 2018 that the legal mandate to record forest biomass-fired energy as contributing to the EU's renewable energy targets has had the perverse effect of creating a demand for trees to be felled in Europe or elsewhere in order to burn them for energy, thus releasing the carbon into the atmosphere, which would otherwise stay locked up in the forest, and simultaneously drastically reducing the carbon sink strength of the forest ecosystems. But rather than identify this crucial work by pressure groups, Jeff chooses to go after
Cheers.
Bill McKibben of
No longer gonna
350.org because
Canvas
McKibben
is
was apparently
for
misguided enough
dot-
to endorse biomass
for Canvas
over a
is
decade
for
ago
all,
before the
like
facts
.org.
had properly been explored. The
dot
implication
com,
being that
dot
McKibben and his organisation had been corrupted
dot info.
and bought out by the corporate infiltration, making him complicit in the deception. Since that time, as McKibben points out in his response statement to the film, he has been vocally opposed to biomass, campaigning on the issue and writing several articles on the subject. When the movie was first screened last year, McKibben wrote to the filmmakers to clarify his views. They didn't write back. As McKibben puts it, that seems like bad journalism and bad faith. Kathy Cowan-Becker comments on this in her article. She says, the insinuation that McKibben takes corporate money is ludicrous. The annual reports of 350.org show they get a little over half of their funding from individual donations and a little under half from foundations and grants. This is very common in the non-profit sector. Jeff takes a similar swipe at the Sierra Club, showing us a $3 million donation they apparently received from a timber merchant back in 2012, and arguing that they have donations on their annual financial reports from all sorts of undesirable corporations. I suspect the Sierra Club might need to respond to this challenge from Gibbs, but they're big boys and girls and I'm sure they can speak for themselves. In fact, they've already released this preliminary statement on their
boys
website.
and girls.
What Jeff is really attempting to emphasise in this movie, though, is the fact that we humans are simply plundering all of the Earth's resources in a completely unsustainable way. The film includes sound bites from a selection of middle-aged, middle-class, first world white folks
At home drawing pictures of mountain tops with him on top lemon yellow sun, arms raised in a V, in the deadly, in pools of maroon below, that he didn't give attention, no, to the fact that mommy didn't get King Jeremy the wicked ruled his world. Oh, Jeremy spoke in class today. Clearly I remember picking on the boy, seemed a harmless little fuck. Ooh, but we at least a lion gnashed its teeth and bit the recessed lady's breast. How can I forget? But it hit me with the surprise lamp. Oh, my jaw left hurting, oh, dropped wide open, just like the day, oh, like the day I heard that he didn't give affection, no, and the boy was something mommy wouldn't wear. King Jeremy the wicked, who ruled his world, oh, Jeremy spoken, ah, Jeremy spoken, trying to forget me, trying to erase me, trying to forget me, trying to erase me, trying to forget me, trying to erase me, trying to forget me, trying to erase me from the blackboard. Jeremy spoken class day. Trying to forget me, trying to erase me, trying to forget me, trying to erase me, trying to forget me, trying to erase me, trying to forget me, trying to erase me from the black. Jeremy spoken class today. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. It's almost 4:20, quarter of the hour. Cannabis is a tism for all. Cannabis is a tism for all. It's been an hour. We've been doing this show for an hour here in 20 seconds. Well, something's happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me I strong. Nobody's right if everyone's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. It's time we stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look, it's going down. Paranoia strikes deep into your heart. It will creep. Stops when you're always afraid. Set that line, the man comes and he takes you away. It's time to stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what it's 4:20. Look at that, it's 4:20. Everybody look, everybody look, everybody look, it's 4:20 time. Bad lines being drawn. Nobody's right when everyone's wrong. Young people speaking their minds and getting so much resistance from behind. It's time we stop. I gotta work on that guy's voice more. He's got like a very specialized voice. Happy 420. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabisism for all. But I said before, happy 420. Cheers. Got out of town on the road to the Southern Islands, going down to the Southern Sea. Though she was making for the trades on the outside, and the downhill run to the Papa TT. On this heading, on the supplies of the Marquises, we got 80 feet of water line. Nice to make it way in the noise apart. Haven't lot I tried to call you, but I tried somehow I realized why she ran away. Think about how many times I have fallen. Spirits are using me, larger voices calling. What has brought you and me cannot be forgotten. Around the world I have been around the world, looking for that woman girl who knows, know, I always have a minute to talk about God. What would you like to talk about? What about God would you like to discuss? I always have a moment. I tell you what, Firmus, let's get one thing straight. Let's get one thing straight, just to start. Okay? Call me Nay, N-A-Y, not Ben. How about that? And then we can talk about God. How's that? Is that cool? And and you can talk about God, how you want to refer to God. Is it okay if I refer to God how I want to refer to God if we're going to have this discussion? Is that okay? Let me know. I'm ready. I'm here, man. I'm here. It's getting to the point where I'm no fun anymore. I am sorry. No, I'm not. Sometimes it hurts so badly I must cry out loud. Please have mercy. I have yours, you are mine, you are Say quiero bailar con Cuba. I have no idea what they're saying there. I'm making shit up. Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clearer. The past is gone. In that light, just a dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got their dues in life to pay. Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know everybody says you gotta lose to learn how to win. Half my life's in books, written pages, living lives from fools and from sages. You know it's true. Oh, all the fears come back to you. Sing with me. can't sing that high. I'm glad I was doing it a half step too low. It's just too strained after smoking a whole hour. There's no way I could do. I mean, I probably shouldn't be able to do that song now anyway. It's out of my range. But, you know, try to fake my way through it. Do something easier, you know. What's that? That's bad as fuck. What a bad run. That's fucking bad, but it's not easy to play like that. There's got to be an easier way to play it. There's a run in there. It's doing something. In the attic toys. Dun dun. Something like that. Yeah, toys. There's some kind of a run going on there. it all around you. Good luck gone bad. But usually it's too late when you realize what you had. Time after time, all years ago, she told me, but hold on loosely, but don't let go. If you cling too tightly, you're gonna lose control. You needed someone to believe in and a whole lot of space to breathe in. Good, I'm so glad somebody requested the song so I can get the fuck out of here. All right, you know the rules. If you request a song, I'm done. Thank you. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabisism for all. I will see you guys later. Bye.